If you're an Australian citizen, you've got to be pretty happy with the country you live in, with its stable democratic government. Am I right? At the centre of it all is the Australian Constitution. It's the source of our laws, our protections, and it should set out how our government operates. And our Constitution must be a pretty good document, right? It must protect our fundamental rights. It must set out how our government actually works, right? Sadly, you've been mistaken on both counts. Much of what we take for granted is not defined in our Constitution at all, and we rely on legislation for many of our important protections. But legislation, unlike the Constitution, is easily changed by the government of the day. Even worse, some of our fundamental systems rely on conventions, which are like understandings that things will be done in a particular way. Trouble is, conventions can be broken, even when they cover really important operations of government. This happened before. Malcolm Fraser, as opposition leader, broke the convention that the opposition would never block financial supply to the government. Then the Governor-General broke the convention and sacked the democratically elected government of Gough Whitlam. And isn't it a bit of a worry that our Governor-General, our ministers, and even our military swear allegiance not to the Australian people, not even to Australia? They all swear their allegiance to a foreign head of state. Australia has reached a critical point in its history where we need our own Australian head of state elected by the Australian people. We need a constitution that sets out clearly how our government actually operates and that sets down in stone our rights and our responsibilities as Australian citizens. So a new Australian Constitution has been drafted by an ordinary Australian for consideration by the Australian people. It is called the New Aussie Constitution. A new Aussie Constitution Trust has also been established to promote and share the draft Constitution as widely as possible, while seeking input and proposed improvements from ordinary Australians so that we can develop the best possible draft document. So what does the proposed draft New Aussie Constitution say? Firstly, it retains many of the things that have worked well for us in the current Australian Constitution. It proposes to preserve parliamentary democracy based on two houses of Parliament with a Westminster-style executive government. The Prime Minister as head of government would still lead a cabinet of senior ministers with collective responsibility for executive decisions. Under the new Aussie Constitution, the head of state would be the Governor-General, and they would be an Australian citizen and, most importantly, elected by the people. Many would assume that Australia ceased to be a monarchy, that we would have a president instead. This is not the case proposed by the new Aussie Constitution. This is because a presidency focuses too much power in the hands of one person. The proposed new Aussie Constitution sets out our key Australian values. It clearly defines our rights and also our responsibilities to the country. It divides power between the branches of government so that no one arm of government can wield absolute power. Neither the new Aussie Constitution Trust nor the author of the draft is aligned to any political party. It is important that this proposal for the new Aussie Constitution comes from the people. The Trust will make the draft widely available and seek input, comments and proposed improvements from ordinary Australians like you. Please take a moment to visit the new Aussie Constitution Trust website by clicking the link below this video. I encourage you to read the draft and make suggestions. You can join the conversation by commenting on the blog or at the website. If you agree with us that it's time we started to talk about our future, then like this video with a thumbs up and share it with your friends and colleagues. We would appreciate your help, so feel free to apply to join the not-for-profit New Aussie Constitution Trust. or to donate to help us to communicate the draft as widely as possible amongst all Australia. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and we hope to see you at the website, learning more about the new Aussie Constitution draft, sending in suggestions or engaging in the discussions. Remember, like, share, and most of all, engage in this most important of decisions. Thanks for your time. This video is written, spoken and approved by Brett Manning, Trustee of the new Aussie Constitution Trust.